Hey everyone, welcome to BodyCamSebastian. In today's video, I'll be walking you through the step-by-step process of changing the rear brakes and adjusting the handbrake on a Volkswagen Crafter and Mercedes Sprinter. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a DIY beginner, I've got tips and tricks to make this job easier. Let's get started. First, we'll make sure the car is on jack stands. After loosening the bolts with a 19mm socket and a long breaker bar, we will use the pneumatic gun to finish loosening the bolts so we can remove the wheel and set it aside. And we will disconnect the brake pad wear sensor. We will loosen the caliper bolts with a 13mm socket. We will take out the bolts and put them in a magnetic tray. Using a screwdriver, we will free the caliper a bit so we can remove it more easily. We will prepare the caliper press to push the piston back, creating space for the new disc and brake pads. The press should move easily with just a little force. If it doesn't, it's possible that your caliper is seized, and you may need a new one. Mine is fine, so I will secure it with a piece of wire to prevent it from falling during the operation. We will remove the brake pads, and with a 21mm socket and a long extension, we will loosen the caliper bracket. Usually, these bolts rust and get stuck. We will continue loosening the bolts with a ratchet, or for the bottom bolt where space allows, even with an impact gun. We will remove the caliper bracket and take care of it later, as its sliders also need to be checked and serviced. With two 13mm wrenches, we will go under the vehicle to find the handbrake adjustment. Which we will locate somewhere in the middle of the car. One wrench will hold against the adjustment, while the other will loosen the locking nut. This needs to be loosened until there is no tension on the handbrake cables, making it easier to remove the brake disc. We will clean the threads as much as possible with a wire brush, and, if necessary, we will use a penetrating spray to help the adjustment nuts move more easily. Using a Torx 45, we will loosen the bolt that holds the disc in place. With a tap, it will come loose. We need the big guns, so we will grab a large hammer. Usually, the disc is rusted and will need a good hit to get free. If the disc doesn't come off, we will screw in a wheel bolt so the disc rotates with the hub. And through one of the holes, using a flat screwdriver, we will tighten the adjustment of the shoes to the maximum. This will compress the brake shoes, and the disc will become free. Finally, we can remove the bolt, and the disc will come off, giving us access to the brake shoes. This brake disc is very rusted, and the brake pads were not making contact over the entire surface. I noticed that one of the shoe springs is not properly connected, which causes the shoes to not make even contact in the drum. We will use a flat screwdriver to stretch the spring between the shoes, and with pliers, we will remove the shoe adjustment. Using the same type of sharp pliers, we will grab the springs and with a twist, we will try to find the position where the hook of the spring no longer catches and passes freely through the oval hole. This is a better angle to understand how the hook of the spring catches in the protective plate. After this operation, with the help of a flat screwdriver, we can remove the last two springs and completely take off the brake shoes. While removing the braking components, I noticed that the protective plate was corroded and rusted, so I decided to replace that as well. In order to do this, we will need to remove the hub and the axle, which are held by 4 bolts coming from the inside. We will clean the bolts tips as well as possible with a wire brush and apply a penetrating spray to make them easier to loosen. For those bolts, we need an E14 socket. I will use a ratchet with an extension because loosening the bolts is not an easy task, but with a bit of effort, they will come off quickly. After we have removed all 4 bolts, we will use a larger hammer to carefully tap the outer part of the wheel hub so that it comes out of its place. At the same time, we will have a container ready in case any oil spills from the rear differential. We will clean the rust off the rear axle with a wire brush to prepare it for installation. After that, we can use brake cleaner, as it removes oil and dust, leaving the surface perfectly clean. For the mechanism that operates the handbrake shoes, I like to use copper-based grease spray that withstands up to 1000 degrees Celsius. It is more durable over time, providing enhanced protection and thermal resistance, which we will need because the brakes reach high temperatures during normal operation. On the other side, we do the same, a bit of wire brushing and a bit of copper-based grease spray. Here we can see how corroded the old protective plate was and the reason we need a new one. The new one came with stickers related to the part number and manufacturer, which we will remove using brake cleaner and a cloth, as we don't want them to heat up and emit a burning smell during brake operation. Since we are not replacing the bearings, I don't trust their seals anymore, so I will use a gasket sealant. I will apply only a very thin line to ensure it's enough but not excessive, and I will apply the sealant on both sides of the protective plate. In the next step, we need to be careful during installation, as the plate is horizontally symmetrical and in some cases can be mounted incorrectly. We will install the axle just enough for it to hold itself because we want to apply chain oil. Due to the silicone and the lubricant, the seals of the bearing will slide easily in the rear axle. For the tips of the bolts, I like to use bearing grease. It protects against corrosion, and for future work in this area, the bolts won't rust and will come off more easily when needed. We will hand tighten all 4 bolts, then use a ratchet to tighten them even further. The final tightening will be done in an X pattern. The manufacturer recommends a tightening torque of 80 Newton meters, but it seems a bit low and unsafe to me, so I will tighten them to approximately 160 Newton meters. Now we can focus on the shoes and springs, as their installation is not easy given the limited space we have available. The large spring goes on the side with the small gap on the shoes and with the part of the mechanism operated by the cable. We connect the spring to the upper shoe. Then using an L-shaped hook, we grab the other end of the spring and stretch it until we can hook it onto the lower shoe, making sure that the opening mechanism is correctly installed in those small gaps of the shoes. Next, we connect the small spring, which is easier to install because it does not need to be stretched. We will thoroughly clean all parts of the brake shoe adjuster and then apply a bit of copper-based lubricant for smoother movement. We will need this later when we get to adjust the shoes. The adjuster should be screwed in, all the way, as this will make the installation of the adjuster and the brake discs much easier. Using a screwdriver, we will push the shoes apart and insert the adjuster back into place. Using pliers, we grab the side springs, insert them through the hole in the shoe and the hole in the protective plate. When the hook comes out on the other side, we rotate it 90 degrees and release it. We do the same for the other spring. Using a small hammer, we ensure that the shoes are properly centered in place. The hub where the brake disc is mounted also needs to be cleaned with a wire brush to remove rust. Then with brake cleaner, we wash the shoes and the entire system to eliminate any oil or dust, and then we blow it dry with air. On the surface between the hub and the disc, I like to apply copper grease because it prevents rust. Most new discs come with a protective wax coating. We will want to remove the wax from the contact surface with the pads, using a cloth and a bit of brake cleaner, rubbing the surface until it is clean and dry. We align the disc with the hub and tighten the bolt to approximately 30 Newton meters. Now it's time for the caliper brackets. We remove the pads plates to clean off the rust and deposits that form underneath with a wire brush. This rust can build up so much that the pads won't slide easily on the plates, leading to uneven wear of the pads or inefficient braking. We remove the slides to clean them, and the one with the rubber stopper needs to be inspected more closely. Sometimes, due to age, the rubber can swell, causing it not to slide properly. We thoroughly clean the slots in the bracket with brake cleaner and then blow everything out with air. In the slots of the bracket, we will apply ceramic grease specially designed for braking systems. A bit of grease will also go on the slides. Be careful not to apply too much, as the slots in the bracket are closed. You want the slides to move freely without compressing air or grease behind them. We check the box to see if the brake pads come with backing plates. Some manufacturers provide them, while others do not. In this case, we can clean the old ones without any problem, as they are made from a corrosion-resistant alloy. We will also clean the bolts of the bracket from rust, and since the grease is at hand, we will put a bit on the tip of the bolt. We install the caliper bracket, and the manufacturer recommends a tightening torque of 170 Newton meters. I personally rub the pads together with the wear surface to create a uniform layer. This step is not necessary, but it helps smooth out manufacturing imperfections. We use new wear sensors and install the caliper. The caliper bolts should not be tightened too much. The manufacturer recommends a tightening torque of 35 Newton meters. Using a flat screwdriver, we will want to open the adjuster's thread all the way until the disc no longer spins at all, as if the handbrake were engaged. After that, we will loosen the adjuster by about 2 clicks until the disc can rotate freely again. We will make the adjustment on both sides. Then we will engage the handbrake a few times to help the shoes settle properly in place. After engaging the handbrake, we will adjust it one more time to ensure that there is no more free space between the shoes and the drum than necessary. Now we can mount the wheels by hand, tightening the bolts and gently tightening them with the pneumatic gun in an X pattern. Attention! This is not the final tightening. The manufacturer recommends a torque of 240 Newton meters for steel rims and 180 Newton meters for alloy rims, with a recheck after 50 kilometers. Now we will get under the vehicle for the final adjustment of the handbrake. The adjusting nut should be tightened until the wheels offer some resistance while continuously checking by rotating the driveshaft. Once the wheels resist turning, we will want to loosen the adjusting nut until the wheels rotate freely. At the end of the adjustment, we want the wheels to spin freely without any braking force that could lead to overheating the brakes. Finally, with two 13mm wrenches, we can tighten the locking nut. With one wrench, we hold steady while using the other to tighten the nuts together until they are secure. Thanks for watching. If you found this guide helpful on changing rear brakes and adjusting the handbrake for the Volkswagen Crafter and Mercedes Sprinter, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to BodyCamSebastian for more automotive tips and tutorials. Have questions or want to share your experience? Drop a comment below. Also, check out our other videos for more DIY car maintenance tips. Remember, a well-maintained vehicle is a safer vehicle. See you next time, and happy driving!